Yo, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of The Source. Happy Monday to everyone. Quick recap of yesterday. It was a good one. Finished plus 0.74 units. Top two bets hit. Top bets overall went 2-2, but my two favorites hit. Definitely was on the wrong side with the Bucks for sure. Lions dominated that game. Eagles, I was on the wrong side too, but I also split my money in that one and put some of it on Eagles first half, so that loss wasn't that bad. Kind of feel like I got robbed in Cincinnati. I mean, I feel Seattle +3 was the correct pick. Didn't fall our way at the end. Geno Smith in the second half of that game was maybe the worst thing I've ever seen. But overall, good day, fun day. How about those Giants? There was a great Sunday night game, a lot of fun. But let's move on to Monday Night Football. Cowboys out in LA to play the Chargers. Line is Chargers +1.5. It's down from 2.5. Total sitting at 51. Let's roll.
Welcome to the Source. The Source. Source. Hey, get the Source.
This line's definitely been bouncing around a little bit. It was at 2, then it was up at 2.5. Now it's down to 1.5. Public's definitely on the Chargers on this one, so people are liking LA out there. So let's start out with some injury reports. Chargers are okay offensively. Obviously, no Mike Williams. He's out for the season. Center Corey Linsley, he's still out. He hasn't played in 2 or 3 weeks either. Austin Eckler back on the field, though. That is huge. On the defensive side of the ball, they're most likely missing a safety, and this is a secondary that just traded J.C. Jackson, so Chargers are going to be a little thin back there. But obviously, the big question mark is Joey Bosa. He has not played since week 3. He's listed as questionable. Did not practice on Thursday or Friday. He did participate in a light practice on Saturday. I would imagine he's going to be a true game-time decision tonight. As far as injuries for Dallas, well, there are none on the offense. The entire Dallas Cowboy offense is healthy. Not a single injury designation on any of them, so they're good to go on offense. The Cowboys defense, however, is not so lucky. Obviously, Trayvon Diggs out for the season. That really sucks for them. Van Der Esch also out for this game. He's having a good season too. And the Van Der Esch one is an especially big hit because the Cowboys are thin at that position. They drafted that dude Overshawn out of Texas, expecting him to see a lot of the field this year. He's out for the season, so Cowboys are also going to be thin at inside linebacker. The good news for Dallas, though, their defensive line is so good and so deep that they can afford to take Micah Parsons, back him off the edge, and have him play inside linebacker in the middle, and still completely dominate the Chargers' offensive line. The Cowboys' defensive front is 3rd in the NFL in adjusted sack rate, 9th in adjusted line yards. For reference, the Chargers are 14th and 22nd in those two categories. So even with the injury to Van Der Esch and the Cowboys back Parsons up off the edge, Dallas still has the big edge in that matchup. The big question mark on this side of the ball is going to be the Chargers' run game. What can we expect from that? Because week 1 against Miami, the Chargers ran the ball for 233 yards on 5.83 yards per carry. Since then, the run game has been non-existent for the Chargers. In weeks 2 through 4, just 82 yards per game on 3.32 yards per carry. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, those are the games that Austin Eckler didn't play in. And you're right, I'm sure that's a huge factor, but it wasn't just Eckler in week 1, it was Joshua Kelly was running. He had 91 yards for a touchdown himself. And I don't think it's as simple as, oh, Eckler's back, now all of a sudden the Chargers can run it. Eckler's not really that type of back. They use him in the passing game just as much as they use him in the run game. He's never rushed for 1,000 yards once in his career. Also, I think part of what went down in that week 1 game was Kellen Moore out coaching Vic Fangio. You know, everyone was expecting the Chargers to come out with a pass first attack on offense. I personally think Kellen Moore purposely drew up a run heavy game plan knowing Miami would just not be ready for it. The reason this is such a big factor is we know dating back to last season that you have to establish the run on this Cowboys defense. I mean, this is a tough team to beat if the game turned into Dan Quinn just sending his guys after your quarterback repeatedly. If you're asking for my opinion, I don't trust the Chargers to get the run game going in this one. I know Kellen Moore coached alongside Dan Quinn the last couple years, but that cuts both ways. I never understand when people use that as an angle, like, oh, Kellen Moore coached next to Dan Quinn, he knows how to beat him. Couldn't you say the same exact thing? Like Dan Quinn coached next to Kellen Moore and he knows how to beat him. It cuts both ways. And the Cowboys defense has actually been decent against the run. 23rd in yards per carry. That needs to be better. But most of that damage came in the Arizona game. Dallas defended Christian McCaffrey well in San Francisco. In reality, the Cowboys defense has only been successfully run on one time, the Cardinals game. So I don't see any reason to think the Chargers can do it here. Now, the Chargers passing attack is as explosive as it gets in the NFL. Kellen Moore's got this passing game humming right now. 5th in yards per attempt, 7th in DVOA. Justin Herbert, 3rd in the NFL in passer rating. But it's not perfect. Justin Herbert has not really handled pressure that well this season. On the year, when pressured, he's 26th in yards per attempt, 16th in completion percentage. Look what happened in the Raiders game. Max Crosby was in Justin Herbert's face all day, and he didn't look good at all. Herbert was just 13 of 24, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. In case you forgot, the Dallas pass rush is an absolute problem. One of the best pass rushes in the NFL, top 3 in adjusted sack rate, pressure rate, and QB hurry rate. Justin Herbert might be in for a tough night here. I mean, having Eckler back helps. Not just as a safety net to throw it to when you're pressured, but also Austin Eckler's a good pass blocker as well. But still, I think Herbert's in trouble. Now, on the other side of the ball, we have a glaring weakness. Chargers run defense. It's looking pretty bad. 17th in the NFL in yards per carry, 28th in run defense DVOA, 30th in adjusted line yards. So this Chargers defensive line is getting absolutely bullied this season in the run game. Now, Tony Pollard and the Cowboys, their run game has definitely been disappointing. Tony Pollard really hasn't been that great this season. Dallas is just 20th in yards per carry, 22nd in rushing DVOA, but they're 11th in adjusted line yards. So the offensive line is creating space. They're getting push. Against a Chargers defensive line that's consistently getting beat in the run, I think this is a prime spot for Tony Pollard to have a big game. He's coming off back-to-back games against New England and San Francisco, 2 tough run defenses. Finally, he gets a spot where he should have plenty of opportunities to make plays in space. I like this matchup for Tony Pollard a lot. As far as Dak Prescott against the Chargers secondary, I mean, it really comes down to the pass protection, because if Dak Prescott has time to throw in this game, he will make plays on the Chargers secondary without a doubt. Chargers run a lot of man coverage, and Dak Prescott's been solid against man this year. So that brings us to the most important question. Will Dak Prescott have time to throw in this game? Will he have time to let his routes develop against this man coverage? And that's a tough one to answer. On paper, the answer is yes. The Dallas offensive line has done a solid job of protecting Dak Prescott so far this season. They're 10th, and 12th in adjusted sack, pressure, and QB hurry rate. And the numbers from the Chargers pass rush aren't great looking this year. They were basically non-existent for a couple games. And then against the Raiders, Khalil Mack records 6 sacks, and the pass rush looks unstoppable without Bosa even being on the field. So on paper, the Cowboys offensive line should be able to keep the Chargers pass rush off of Dak Prescott, but I think we all know the Chargers pass rush is capable of being a lot better than the numbers indicate so far. So that's why there's a bit of a question mark next to that one. Got an Underdog fantasy pick 'em in from Prop Beaver himself. He just emailed me this. Austin Eckler higher than 4.5 receptions. Tony Pollard higher than 15.05 fantasy points. Jake Ferguson higher than 3.5 receptions. If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted in this map. So if you're in one of these states, head over to Underdog Fantasy. You can go to the website or download the app. Make sure you use the promo code BET. BET. That'll get you a deposit bonus match. You deposit $100, they will give you a free $100 to play with. As far as when I'm betting, I'm on Dallas. I'm on the Cowboys. I'm loving how everyone's betting the Chargers. This Cowboys team, the last few years, it's the same pattern over and over again. They beat a couple teams. They look good. They get overhyped. Everyone has them as a top 3 or 4 team in the league. Then they play a really good team and they get beat up. It looks bad, just like what happened last week. And then everyone bails on them. Oh, Dak's not the guy. Cowboys aren't that good. Blah, blah, blah. And then they beat up on a team the next week and immediately get overhyped again. It's the same thing over and over and over. You can set your watch to it like clockwork. Rinse, lather, repeat. That's the process of the Cowboys. So I expect them to come out and look really good, beat up on the Chargers. I'd also lean over. But to be honest, I haven't taken a look at the totals at 51. I'm looking at it literally right now. I'd also lean over 51, but I'll post it on the website what I'm actually doing. But definitely on the Cowboys, leaning over. If you'd like the top bets, parlays of the day, or if you'd like to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. NFL Week 6. Let's finish out Monday Night Football strong. Put another green week into the books. Let's go Cowboys.